Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome once again to Ask the Vicar. Sorry for the slight delay. I realised I was wearing a bright white t-shirt, which was pretty glary on the screen. Really good afternoon to you from wherever you are watching from. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments section below. We've had 3 fantastic questions in this week that we'll dive into in a moment, but we want Ask the Vicar to be as interactive as possible. So do get your questions in on the comment section as we go, and also feel free to disagree with me in the comment section, turning my answers to these questions as we go along. Because at the end of the day, this is all about opinions, and we've all got different views on them as well. So good afternoon to you. We're going to dive in right away with our very first question, which is, what do you think about face masks? It is the question, really, isn't it, of the day. After the government's latest thing, that from the 24th of July, we'll all have to be wearing them in shops. I've worn one a few times already, most of the time on the hospital trips that I've had to do since lockdown's been eased. And let's be honest, they're not great to wear. To start with, especially being a glasses wearer, I had my mask in the wrong position and my glasses kept steaming up, so I had to correct that one. Let's kind of get through the negatives first of all. They're annoying. It kind of smiles and all of those kind of stuff. It makes a bit of a difference too with our faces, but the absolute bottom line is it is going to help for sure to control the virus. Personally, I would think government should probably go kind of mandatory wherever we kind of are in public, especially where we are kind of on the inside. I had a quite interesting debate happening on the radio this morning where someone was talking about needing to wear them in bars and restaurants, to which the presenter kind of very quickly pointed out it's a bit tricky to eat and drink with one on, but I think wherever possible we should wear them. And I know that for so many of us, all these things that we're having to do are difficult, they're frustrating, they're causing discomfort to our lives and a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. But the more we do to help with this virus, the more we wear face masks, the more we wash our hands, the more social distance we can keep within reason, the quicker we're going to come out of it, and the quicker we're going to be in a situation where we don't have to do these things anymore. So face masks, I think, necessary evil in one sense. Don't really want to wear them, but I think we absolutely should wear them as much as possible. So hope you asked that question. I'm for them in preventing the spread of the virus, but they're a bit annoying to wear. So second question, and the second and third questions are really quite personal ones. So thank you so much for sending those in. But this question is about jobs, and it is, I'm just about to be made redundant. Told it's happening. I'm worried about my financial future, my household's future. Will God provide for me? Wow, that's a really great and a really big, deep question. I've just finished writing and filming a whole series of talks that are for an event in Essex that I was meant to be one of the speakers at this coming summer. And I've done the series of talks on a guy in the Old Testament called Elijah. And as part of Elijah's story, there is this moment where a huge famine hits the nation and the country that he's living in, and God tells him to go to a strange place. Tells him to go to a place called the Kerith Ravine, which is a valley place, and that he will be provided for by the birds of the air and by a small amount of water that is in this place. And he does that, and God provides for him. God then tells him to go to see a widow in a place called Zarephath. Lovely name. And this widow is kind of being a widow. She's kind of right down in the lower pecking orders of society. This is kind of like for the real kind of outcasts of society of the time. I was trying to think of a modern day example, but I probably shouldn't. But she's a real outcast in society. She's pretty much penniless, and she's got a son to look after, and she's dealing with famine. And God tells Elijah to go and to be with this woman, and that he will provide through the very little that she has. And miraculously, God provides for her. Why do I say that story? Because hugely in the Old Testament, one of the names of God that we are reminded about is that one of God's names, he calls himself, is Jehovah Jireh, which means the God who will provide. And I just say this to you this afternoon. First of all, my heart goes out to you and so many others who are losing jobs, who are really, really worried about financial security. I was just talking to one lady this morning that has said that in her workplace she's avoided the first 2 rounds of redundancies, but there's now a 3rd round coming, and she thinks she's going to be in that group. And she's kind of really worried and concerned as well. God is true. A long way of saying God is true to his name. He is the God who provides, and he will provide for you. I'm not saying things aren't going to be difficult. I'm not saying things aren't going to be tight, but God will provide, whether that's with supernatural provision for the things you need, or that's miraculously providing you with a new job. If you trust him and if you look to him, he will provide. He promises to provide for us. He promises to never leave us or forsake us. We also have to break down this bit between the fact he says he will provide and the things maybe we've become used to and become comfortable with. We do get really kind of wrapped up in our living standards, kind of our trappings of life. And God hasn't promised to give us definitely the things we want, but he has promised to give us the things that we need. And just trust him, and he will take you through this season. He will provide for you. And as the church household here at St. Mary Magdalene, we are going to be just alongside one another in these difficult weeks and months that will be ahead, sharing with one another, practically providing for one another, and praying for one another as well as we go through this difficult time. But God is true to his name, and he will provide for you. Next question is kind of even more personal. It's a really tough one. Thank you so much for sending it in, for the bravery of writing this in. And the question is this: I have just found out that I can't have children. I feel so angry with God. What should I do? First thing to say is that, again, it's similar with the person who's lost a job. My heart absolutely breaks for you. The pain of knowing that you can't have children, wanted children for so long, and now can't have them it's just horrendous. And we weep with you, and we stand with you. And as again, your church household here, we don't abandon you. We're with you in that moment and with you in that pain, and God is with you. And I know I'll come on to the next bit in a moment. They said how angry with God you are, and I totally understand it, but he's with you in it. And the next bit, what should you do? Twofold. First thing I'd really advise you to do is be really real with God about your anger. He can take it. We see in the Bible about Jesus getting angry. Being angry about something isn't a sin. It's what your anger leads to that can be difficult, but don't worry about being angry. One of the things, again, we read over and over again in the Bible is just how people are real with God. And sometimes, especially if you've been around church culture for any kind of length of time, we get so unreal, and we start being kind of trying to put on airs and graces with God and one another, and kind of putting on masks, if you like, as well, and just not being real about the things we go through. And that's what God wants us to be. Like in any great relationship, he wants to be honest. So if it works for you, where find a good space, maybe in the middle of a field somewhere, or I know in your room when there's no one else around, and just be really real. Shout, rant, get angry with God. Tell him all of your frustrations. Tell him about your pain. Just pour out to him your kind of, I guess, lack of understanding of the current situation, your frustration, and why have you allowed this to happen, and what are you doing for it, through it, and be really, really honest with God, as much as you can be, from the bottom of your heart, because he can take it and he wants to hear it, and he's with you. And God didn't make you not be able to have children the same way God didn't kind of send coronavirus. But also in the same way, in the future, maybe way down the track, when you need to go through a grieving process, however long it lasts, he will do something through it. I promise you. Whether that's to do a miracle. I've heard and been involved in situations where people have been told they can't have children sometimes. I'm not saying it would definitely happen in your case. Sometimes God does miracles. And people conceive when they've been told there's no physical possibility of that happening. Secondly, God will do something. I was talking about this verse last night with a group of people. I mention it a lot because it's one of my favourite verses in the whole of the Bible. And it's Romans 8 and verse 28. And I always have to remind myself it's written by a guy who spent time murdering followers of Jesus and organising their murders. And then, but then he wrote these words and he included himself in it. Romans 8:28, and it says, and we know that in all things, and I always like to emphasise the all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who've been called according to his purpose. And if one of those things is we kind of rediscover our inheritance, we rediscover the fact we're readopted into God's family as his children, that he promises he will use everything to work out his purpose for your good. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like. And I also say that we will journey with you through the pain, and we will pray for you for miracles, and we will pray for that purpose to be shown at the right time. But please also be really real with God and grieve properly about your loss. God just wants you to be really, really honest. Thank you so much for sending that question in. It's really brave of you to do it. If you want to send a question in, do just email into vicar@stmarymagdalene.co.uk. That's vicar@stmarymagdalene.co.uk. Thank you for those incredibly personal questions. We'll still be alive for a few more minutes. So if you want to pop any questions in the comments section, or just let us know where you're viewing from, or kind of feel free to disagree with me with any of the comments. I'm not kind of sitting myself here as the font of any kind of wisdom. I'm just, as a follower of Jesus and the leader of a church, just trying to, I guess, share kind of some of my experiences, some of my own kind of biblical understanding of where God is in a lot of these issues that we're facing at the moment. So if you've got any questions, any things you want to just pop them in the comments section. I say, I hope you're all kind of still doing really well. I know what a just frustrating time and frustrating period this is to live in. To live in right now as well, and it's difficult. And so just so well done for just keeping on, because a lot of the time that is really all we can do right now. As a church, we've got more things coming up. I'm going to post a thought for the day in a moment from Reg. Other thoughts. I can get my teeth in for the day coming out over the next couple of days. We've got our prayer meeting on Zoom on Thursday. Church will be back live again on YouTube and Facebook at 10 o'clock on Sunday. And we've got our brand new Archdeacon coming to speak as well. Richard Frank, he's a great guy, really excited about that. He's got such a posh title as well, Archdeacon. We're finding out exactly what that means as well. He's a really good guy, so do tune in to hear him as well. Great, guys, it's been fantastic to be together. Just give you another few seconds if there's anything that you want to put up on the Facebook group there, or questions. Checking that wasn't a question coming in over text, but otherwise have a fantastic week. Let people know about Ask the Vicar and all the other things that we're doing online, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.